I've got something a bit different for you today, guys. On the screen before you is the legendary game Football Manager 2011. I mean, every FM is legendary, but this one has a special place in my heart for the simple reason, this save. This save that I'm going to show you was insane. It is probably my greatest ever Football Manager save. I've spoken about it in the past on various videos, and I've tweeted about it in the past. I actually tweeted some screenshots from it a few days ago, but I thought I wanted to make a video on this because it's something a bit different, and I just wanted to show you my pre-YouTube Football Manager days where I would go quite far into the future. It's a bit easier to go far into the future when you're not doing videos, because when you make videos it just slows down the whole process of playing Football Manager. But this is me, Paul Holden, quite simply. For those of you that don't know, I did actually go double barreled when I got married last year, so I'm not just called Paul Holden anymore. But yeah, this is the days before I'd even met Jenny, when I was playing Football Manager at university. I actually played this save at the end of my first year of uni, and I spent the whole summer basically trying to get Chelmsford City into the Premier League, and I managed it, quite simply. Look, Chelmsford City are in the Premier League. It became a bit of a chore in the end. I wouldn't say it's my favourite ever save, but it's my greatest ever save, for the simple reason all the achievements I managed to get Chelmsford City into the Premier League. That was my primary aim. I even managed to get them to qualify for the Champions League, but then Football Manager 2012 came out and I sort of neglected this save. As you can see here, last season of the save, I finished third with Chelmsford City. So I thought I'd just show you around this save a little bit. I was tempted to continue this on my channel. A Football Manager 2011 career save, like continue with Chelmsford City and see if I could do well in the Champions League with them. But at the same time, this is a bit of a nostalgic thing for me. It doesn't mean anything for you. You might find it a little bit interesting, but for me, it's amazing. It's something really special for me. But to you guys, it doesn't mean anything. Apart from the fact that I did do Trumpster Champions, I've managed Chelmsford City on FM11. With this, I actually went a bit further than Trumpster Champions because I did play a few seasons in the Premier League here, as you can see. And I also managed Morocco. Now, my last ever game on this save was the World Cup final with Morocco. And if you look here, I actually managed to win the World Cup final. 3-2 against Spain, who were just so dominant back then on the game. It was an incredible achievement. This Morocco team somehow produced an incredible golden generation of players, especially defenders. I'll show you some players in a second. But you can see here, I only conceded one goal up until the final. I even beat Spain in the group stage 1-0. I beat Scotland 2-0 and I beat Jamaica 3-0 before beating England on penalties. Let's look at this actually, because the England team was quite different. You can see here they had Joe Hart in goal, which is pretty standard. Chris Smalling was in defence, but Phil Jones, they had someone called Kevin Parks, who is a regen on the game. Jack Robinson, remember him? Really good left back a few years ago. Jack Wilsh is in midfield. Jack Rodwell's the captain of England. There's Peter Hall up front. He's a regen as well. Alex Smithies on the bench. This is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's just quite simply called Alex Chamberlain on this game. There's Zeli Ismail, who is a real player. Only one cap for England. John Joe Shelvey, 9 caps for England at this stage. David Button on the bench as well. Brentford goalkeeper in real life, I think. Really quite interesting stuff. But this is the 2022 World Cup, and I managed to win it with Morocco. This is... It really is one of my greatest ever achievements, because it's not the best team in the world. This is my goalkeeper, Munir Tran, 22 caps, looks alright, nothing spectacular, but a decent player. But defensively, I had some very good players. Tricky, really good right back, as you can see there. He actually plays for Chelsea on the save, so really good player. Taha Arab at centre back, another good regen. They just produced really good regens on this. He plays for Sevilla, as you can see there. My other centre back was Koutari, a real player, 147 caps for Morocco. And then my left back was this guy, Mohamed Lamine Ben Ayad, who has 128 caps at the age of 28. He's an incredible player. Plays for AC Milan. Really good physically. 16 marking, 17 tackling, 18 influence as well. Some cracking players. And then my striker, There's a few options, but Benali was my top one. His pace and acceleration were key to this. 15 finishing, composure 14, off the ball 14. So he's an alright poacher, but 17 goals and 25 caps for me. He really was a super striker for me. I'm still in charge of Morocco. I think at the time I was going to retire at the end of the World Cup, but I didn't. I ended the save instead. And I had a couple other strikers as well. You can see here Barabia, 10 goals and 15 caps. Another similar player, pretty pacey, not amazing finishing composure, but found the back of the net for me, and that's what mattered. And Imran Yildirim, 12 goals in 19 games for him as well. I just had these players that seemed to score quite a few goals. I suppose it was helped that I found a pretty good tactic that worked quite effectively. You can see here I played a 4-3-2-1. Wingers, solid central midfield trio, and simple four at the back. I mean, these tactics, it doesn't actually matter what I played. How do I look at the overall tactics? It looks so different now, doesn't it? I'm sure there's... What? Why can't I see what the tactics are? Oh, there we go. Team instructions. I just clicked on the pitch and they appeared. But that's what I used. I did this thing on FM11 of using like a target man occasionally with run onto ball. You could select a player to be target man and then get them target man supply run on. Oh, actually, this is what I did. I'd have a poacher, and I selected the poacher to be the target man of the team, and then target man supply would be run onto ball. Now I did this with Scott Sinclair. I managed Swansea on FM11, and he scored over 30 goals in one season in the league with this role. I just found this way of getting so many goals. Well, I think FM11 was it FM11 the game with the grid tactic, or was it FM12? But there was that stupidly insane tactic as well. And I remember testing it once and it was just stupidly overpowered. It ruined the game in a way if you wanted to just play properly. So that was my time at Morocco. But really, it was all about Chelmsford City, this save. Obviously started in the 2010-2011 season, and now it's just the end of the 2021-22 season. So I played a lot of seasons. This was the team I ended up with. I had Wayne Rooney. I signed him at the end of last season on a free from Man United. 146 caps for England, 67 goals, and I got him on a free. Really good mental attributes still, not so good physically or technically as you can see there, but he helped me lead Chelmsford City to a third place finish. I never had the best team, but my tactics were good. I somehow managed to sign pretty good free transfers all the time. I hardly ever spent money. I'll show you my transfers in a bit, but I very rarely was given any money by the board. I had the real life players I had was Mark Connolly. You might know him. Greg Cunningham, the left back, the Irish left back, signed him. Then obviously Wayne Rooney, John Fleck, legend of Football Manager a few years ago, was always turned into a really good player. And I think that's it, to be honest. I think everyone else is a regen. My best player, my most expensive signing ever was this guy, Tim Veerman, a Dutch player, 6 caps for Holland at the age of 22. I signed him last season for £12 million, my most expensive signing ever. The most stupid thing about this save actually is the fact that I am somehow not on the Legends, Icons or Favoured Personnel list, despite winning getting promoted to the Premier League with Chelmsford City. It is ridiculous. I don't understand how I'm not on that list, or one of the... I'm not even a favoured personnel. What the hell is wrong there? I just don't understand. It really isn't making any sense. But if I just show you the history then of Chelmsford, we'll go back to the start. We'll go back to, where is it? The Conference South. What was it called back then? The Blue Square Bet South. I started in this division, and somehow I managed to win the league in that first year. 97 points. I ran away with it in the end, ahead of my arch rivals Braintree Town, 20 points ahead of them. Dover went up via the playoffs. And then in the second season, obviously, I went up to the Blue Square Bet Premier, and I need to go to this one. No, not that one. This one, 2012. I got into the playoffs, 3 points behind the winners, Grimsby Town, and I got promoted via the playoffs. So pretty lucky to go up that season in my first attempt in the Blue Square Bet Premier. Back then it was a bit easier to fly up the divisions early on. Nowadays I don't think I could manage it. Well, I didn't manage it with Chelmsford City in Chelmsford Champions, did I? I went up in the first season, then I did tend to struggle to go up, didn't I? I think I struggled to get out the conference, but back on FM11 I managed to go up at the first time of asking. Then League 2. 2014 season. Nope, I'm wrong again. 2012-13 season, I actually got promoted automatically. Second place, 1 point up behind Bournemouth, who are in the Premier League in real life now. You can see the differences in the league there. Most of those teams are probably in League 1 or 2, aren't they? There's not really any surprises there at this point. But yeah, I managed to win get promoted in second place, 92 points. Then the season after, League 1, I think this is my first hurdle. Yes, 71 points. And I think I remember I was like towards the bottom of the relegation zone, and I sort of with a third of the season to go, and I had a remarkable run. And I finished 1 point off the playoffs. I was pretty heartbroken actually, because I just went on this crazy run. At one point I thought I was going to get relegated. Then I thought, I'm just going to finish mid-table, but I kept winning. And then finally I finished 1 point off the playoffs, and that was a bit heartbreaking at the time. But still, it probably helped me improve the team. Obviously I stayed in League 1 that season, so in the 2014-15 season, I ran away with it. 97 points. I didn't run away with it, but I finished 2 points ahead of second place Colchester and third place Cardiff. 97 points. 105 goals I scored that season. And I was promoted as champions. So in the championship, this is where it really became a bit of a chore. I did struggle to get out of this division. I finished 15th in my first year. Pretty comfortable season. 15 wins, 14 draws, 17 defeats, 59 points as you can see there. And in my second season in the championship, a few places up, I actually finished just on the same number of points as the team I support, West Ham United, 69 points, just behind them on goal difference. And in the third season, I finished 9th, and by this point I was like, I'm going up a few places each season, I'm not making much progress, the board weren't giving me any money, I don't think, and it was a real struggle. But I was doing really well with what I had, all the free transfers I was bringing in. I was a wheeler dealer, and I was somehow getting results. But I think I had a break at this point. I think I had some uni work to do as well in the summer, so I had a break. Just because it was getting a bit stale at this point. 3 seasons stuck in the Championship. I really wanted to try and get up to the Premier League as quickly as possible. I saw loads of people back then somehow flying up the divisions without, any stopping points. I suppose people did cheat. But I wanted to do this properly, and it is my greatest ever save, because I've tried this before with other teams and I've failed miserably. This is where it worked with Chelmsford City. You might be skeptical and thinking, how did I do this so quickly? This is 1 out of maybe 10 attempts that I've done with lower league teams where I managed to just do really well and persisted. At some points I'd get to League 2 and I'd just get bored, and then I'd stop. So yeah, I was pretty proud of these achievements, even though at this point I was mid-table in the Championship. But the following season, I think it's this one, I got promoted. I got promoted via the playoffs. It was such a relief. I think I beat West Ham in the final as well, which is quite funny really. Burnley and Blackpool were promoted automatically, ridiculous number of points, but I got 88 points, which some years would have been enough to finish second or even first, I suppose. Finally, I got promoted to the Premier League. So in the 2020 season, 1920 season, I survived in 15th place. I wasn't really given much money. I'll have a look at the transfers in a second, but it was a struggle. 39 points isn't always enough to stay up, but this season it was, because Hull, Blackpool and Burnley did very poorly, and I survived despite losing 19 games and -7 goal difference. I conceded a lot of goals, you can see, but I did score quite a few. 57 goals isn't bad, to be honest. And then in the second season, all the way up in 7th place, I don't think I got Europa League football, or whatever it was called back then, UEFA Cup. 56 points. I was a long way behind 6th place Arsenal, as you can see there. But I did really well in that second season. And then in this third season, which was my last season in the end, I managed to finish 3rd. Somehow. I don't know how I managed to finish 3rd with the team I had, because it really doesn't look that great on paper. I'll show you some of the players I have, because you'll recognise some of the real players. But if we look at current ability-wise, best player is Tim Veerman, but then it's Bindervold, who is a Greek international striker who I signed a few years ago. Signed him when I was in the Championship. And he didn't really score. He only scored 3 goals in his first season. I was halfway through that first season. But I saw potential in him. It was his first season in football, as you can see there. Then in the second season, 11 goals in the Championship helped me get promoted. But the first season in the Premier League, he did struggle. Only 4 goals. He was mainly a substitute, though, for me, as you can see there. Second season, played quite a few games, but quite a few off the bench as well. Scored 12 goals. I saw potential in him this season though, because 12 goals from 11 starts and 9 sub appearances isn't bad at all. Very good average rating as well. And then this season, 27 goals in all competitions. It's about a 1 in 2 record, as you can see there. 18 goals in the league. He became my main striker, and he helped me finish 3rd in the league. So decent player, but he's not someone that you would expect to be playing Champions League football. So I certainly did overachieve in this season. Other good players, Brousson, a French defensive midfielder who I signed for 2.4 million. I think that was my first season in the Premier League, and he's sort of grown into the role. This season was his best season. Then there was Cuca from Brazil, Brazilian regen, 23 years old at this point. He signed for 10.75 million, my second most expensive signing ever. Last season, got quite a few assists, and this season, 16 assists in all competitions. Had a really good season. In fact, maybe I did play in Europe this season, because it looks like, let's see, Continental. Yeah, I did. I played in the Europa League, or whatever it was called back then. So, yeah, I didn't do too bad actually. So that 7th place was enough for European place. Fofana as well. He's a decent winger who I actually loaned for a couple of years from Arsenal, as you can see there. But then Stuttgart nipped in. I was really annoyed by this because they signed him for 2.2 million. I really wanted him to sign him on a permanent transfer, but I did manage to do it in the same season actually. So I had to double the money to get him. And in the second half of the season, he had a pretty good second half of the season with me. So there's a few decent players in there. My goalkeeper Martin Johansson is a Swedish international, 22 caps at the age of 27. He's pretty good. 4.9 million. I signed him from Celtic. I like the look of him, and I got him. So these players that I was signing, not huge amounts of money, not spectacular players, but they're decent, and they were enough to keep me up. And the tactic that I used, which is the Christmas tree formation for the last 2 years, worked effectively. If we just look at the team instructions, that's what I used. You can see I used that run onto ball target man supply. I think I selected Bindervold as my target man, although he played as a poacher. Let's have a look. Yeah, he played as a poacher, but that's what I did. I used a poacher, but I used a target man, and they just run onto the ball with their pace. And I always tried to make sure my wage structure was good as well. 54,000 is the most I'm paying a player a week. Veerman and Bindervold, both of them. If we just look at the transfers, you can see here. Let's go back to the beginning. Can I go back to the beginning? History. Here we go. History. Let's go all the way back to the start. Has it saved? I don't think it's saved. Oh wait, I've not gone back to the start. That's the start. I'm a plum. So you can see here all 3 transfers in that first season, bringing in players that were suitable at the time. Terry Dixon was this really good striker at the time, who would score goals, but he had a terrible injury record. So he never really... All these other players have retired. Ismail Fofana. Now this is a different Fofana that I had. I think he did quite well for me. Yeah, he played for me for years. You can see there. Became a Chelmsford City legend in a way. Went all the way from the Conference South up to the Championship with me. And then I let him go on a free. There was one player that I took all the way, and I'll show him in a second. Well, not all the way actually. He didn't play in that first season. Let's go to the next season. 2011-12 season. This is him. Paco Craig, who's a real player apparently. 29 at the time of 2022. I don't know if he's still around in real life. But anyway, he started at West Ham apparently. And I signed him on a free in the Blue Square Premier. And he was just my centre-back. He just somehow was good enough at every single level, all the way up to the Premier League. And in that first season, he played 35 games for me and helped me stay up. In the second season, he's played 18 games. But then I let him go on a free. I don't know why. I should have kept him because he's the only player that went the whole way with me, really. Apart from it, that first season, he wasn't around. But you can see once again, it was all free transfers. I sold players for free. That's just what I did. I would end up with I remember one season, I think it was in League One, I ended up with about 10 players in the whole squad. And I just had to build it up. Possibly less than 10. Because look at this season. My first season in League Two, all the players I let go on a free. Sold 3 players for a bit of money, but everyone else on loan, on a free. Jeffrey Hendrick, Irish international in real life, didn't actually turn into a decent player on this, but I signed him at one point on loan from Derby. Did alright for me. Jamal Blackman, the Chelsea goalkeeper, I signed him on loan. This guy was insane. I loved this guy. He was scored a lot of goals for me in League 2. If you look here, no, League 1, sorry. 14 goals in his first season. Second season, 8 goals. I thought he did better than this, actually. 13 goals and 12 goals. He did better in the Championship, actually. Yeah, last season in the Championship for me, 19 goals. I sold him simply because, actually, this was the penultimate season in the Championship. I sold him because I needed the money. The board were just not giving me any money whatsoever. Any other real life players? Oh, James Rowe, I think he's real. Oh, and John Kofi. He was a pace machine up front. A Ghanaian who I had for a number of years, as you can see there, and scored 19 goals in his best season for me. And then we went up to, is this the League 1 still? Jordan Brown on loan. He's a real West Ham player. Got Jeff Hendrick back on loan. Jay Tab on a free transfer. He's retired now. Mark Yeats as well on a free. He's an assistant manager on this. Eric Dyer. I had no idea. I signed Eric Dyer on a free or on loan. It was on loan from Sporting. No, from Fulham, because they signed him for 240k. I actually had no idea that I had him. He only played one game for me though. But look at, he's playing for Rochdale now. He's useless. That is so funny. That is brilliant. Some of the different things that goes on back then. Gary Gardner on loan as well from Aston Villa. I forgot I got him. He only played a handful of games as well in League 1. Wasn't really good enough. This guy was good. Axel Hansen. I signed him on loan from Arsenal, and for 3 years running in League 1, he managed to score 15 goals, 17 assists, and then my first season in the Championship, 11 goals, 13 assists. I really wanted to buy him, but I couldn't. Salzburg signed him for 6.75 million. You can see he's moved around a hell of a lot, but I loved that guy. Really did. Kevin Stewart, is he the Liverpool guy? No, he can't. Is he? I don't know. Maybe. But I had him on loan as well. Wow. Obviously, I didn't know who these players were back then. But David Rainford was their Chelmsford City captain for a number of years. I finally let him go that year. This is just... The memories are coming back. No, it doesn't mean anything to you. In a way, maybe this video is a bit pointless. But I just wanted to show you my greatest ever save. Share with you guys what I used to do back then. And I signed Axel Hansen again. I used to always sign players on loan from Arsenal because they always had brilliant young players. This guy, Filip Pivkovsky, I loved him. 5 goals and 15 caps for Sweden. In the one season for me, he scored 27 goals. But then Peterborough signed him from Arsenal. I couldn't match their wages or something. I didn't even have any money, to be honest, to sign him. So he went to Peterborough. Really wanted to try and sign him on a permanent deal. Jordan Abita from Reading. I had him on loan as well, briefly. As you can see there. These are the players. I made 13k that year. Didn't see a penny of it. This was the first season I actually had money. But I didn't have enough to sign Pivkovsky. That's right. So I did have enough money to get a few loan players in. Bill Neum, Charlie Smith, Fenemo from West Ham I had on loan, and another guy from Arsenal, Antonopoulos, a regen, Greek international nowadays. And I did make money by selling this guy, Martin Hannes, Czech Republican, who I signed on a free. This is what I did. I signed players on a free and I'd try and sell them on. In his first season in the Championship, he had an alright season, but Sampdoria obviously saw something in him and they signed him for 1.4 million. He's turned into a regular for them on that left wing, and he's got 2 caps for Czech Republic. Also sold Martin Promes, a Dutch player who I signed on a free. Sold him a year later for a bit of profit. That's what you have to do at this level though. When you've got no money, you get players on a free and you sell them for profit. There's nothing, you can't just hang on to players because you feel like they're going to turn into something, because you can't afford to at this stage. For me to move on, for me to improve the squad, I had to sign players on a free and sell them for, even if it was 100k, it was something to improve the finances of the club. The season after, I did have a bit of money in the Championship. You see, 2.8 million I spent. It was mainly on loan transfers though, as you can see there. The biggest amount of money I spent was actually on this guy called Aaron Love. Oh, I loved this guy. 23 caps for Australia now, 27 years old. But I really, really liked this player. I had him on loan. Now, in League 2, in 2012-13 season, years ago, my third ever season, scored 8 goals, 4 assists, had a decent season. And he went around a bit before finally I managed to sign him. Unfortunately, it wasn't amazing, 2 goals, 4 assists, but I made a profit, as you can see there. Sold him a year later for 1.7 million. So, once again, good profit margin for me. I was a wheeler dealer, and it worked really well. I don't know if there's any... We've got Mark Connolly, that's when I signed him. 120k from Plymouth. Xavier, is he real? No, he's a regen, of course, with that sort of name. Vukic, Newcastle guy. I signed him on a free as well, and then sold him for £1 million. So yeah, made a profit on him as well. Where am I going? Let's go back. I did sell some players, as you can see there. And then the season after, was this the year I got promoted? I think it was the year before I got promoted. Now, I did have some money by this point, finally, but mainly because I sold players. I only spent 750k, in fact, because of all the players I sold, you can see there. Biggest one, Aaron Love, that was actually not the biggest one, it was this guy that was the biggest one. Maldonado. Yes, it's coming back to me. He's a Venezuelan legend in a way, 65 caps for Venezuela. Signed him for 350k, sold him for 2.3 million. He has gone on to command a bit more transfer. He's actually at PSV now. I don't know if I made a bit of money from sell-on clauses, I have no idea, but made a bit of money that year to be able to sign some players. This was my biggest transfer at the time, Vincent Grot from Holland, an attacking midfielder who's still at the club, being a good servant to the club. Never had an incredible season, but he's done alright. Richie Davies as well from Wales, who I haven't shown. He's a decent Welsh central midfielder, 6 caps for his country. Signed him for 375k. He's done alright for me. Nothing spectacular, but he's done alright. Ben Parker as well, I signed him, but he retired. $500,000 I spent on him. Then in the 18-19 season, this is when I got promoted. I didn't spend much money at all. Sold a few players for a bit of a profit. I brought in, I remember this guy, a striker, Kober, Czech Republic, 3 goals in 6 caps for Czech Republic. Signed him for 170k. Sold him 2 years later for 1.5 million. I made a profit once again. That's what I was all about back then. I signed Victor Moses on loan from West Brom at the time, who sold him to Bristol City. I signed him on a free. I sold him for a profit to Bristol City for 1 million because he wasn't that great, to be honest. But yeah, another great bit of business. Majeski, the Nottingham Forest guy. Signed him on a free. Sold him on a free though. Don't know why I sold him. Maybe I didn't think it was like that first season. 20 assists in all competitions. I don't know why I sold him. Maybe I offered him a 2-year contract. I suppose he was a bit old. 35, maybe that's why I let him go. I don't know. I didn't make a profit on him, but I didn't really lose any money. Nigel Rio-Coker on a free as well. Now coach. Legend. I made some great signings that year. Then my first season in the Premier League, I did spend money. I got money when I got to the Premier League. 20 million in fact, as you can see there. Sold a couple players. Sold Kobo for 1.5 million, but I brought in... I don't know why I spent... Why did I spend £4 million on J. Emmanuel Thomas? Now, this is an example of when I did make a loss, but he was a pretty good player back on the day. Really versatile. Really good young player, but he didn't really do it for me, and I decided to just sell him. I made a loss of 3 million. That was bad business for me. At this point, when I was splashing the cash around, I decided to sign a backup goalkeeper for 3.5 million. Played lots of... He was my main goalkeeper in that first season, but didn't... I mean, he conceded too many goals, which is why I brought in another keeper. Came a backup. Wesley Schneider. I signed him on a free, and legend. Let's just look at him. Look, 23 games for me in that first season. Didn't do very well, but I loved the fact that I managed to sign Wesley Schneider. Signed Robert Huth on a free as well. Fabinho. He's a regen, a Polish regen. 1 cap for Poland. Xavier on loan again. Musa Fofana from Arsenal. This is Marcus Henriksen, central midfielder. You might spot some players in here that just take you back. There's obviously a lot of regens now at this point. This is a Romanian international who I managed to sign. Not really sure why I spent 5 million on him, but I think I just needed players at the time. I was desperate for players. Sold it. Why? I get to the Premier League and suddenly all my transfer brilliance goes out the window and I make losses on these players. Mike Gerster. Signed him for this was good business though. It sort of makes up the fact that I made a loss on the other couple of players. Signed him for 5.75 million. Had an okay first season. Sold him for £12 million. That was a great bit of business from me. He's a good player. Sold Stephen Ward for 60k. It was great. I mean, so the next season after that, I got John Fleck on a free, legend of Football Manager in the past. Signed Canalaric on for 5.5 million. Really good Argentina youth player. 49 caps at youth level. And I think 5.5 million for him was pretty good at the time. But yeah, this was the year I really spent money. Spent about 20 million net. As you can see there, I got Martin Johansson, the Swedish goalkeeper, because I needed a better goalkeeper. Aquino as well, Paraguayan centre-back. Was going to be sort of a backup for me, I guess, or maybe even my main man. Kuka for 10.75 million was my main signing, as you can see there. But I did so. I sold Gerster for 12 million, sold Victor Moses for 1 million, sold Ryan Tunnicliffe for 1.3 million. I made quite a bit of profit on him as well. And then in my last season, that's when Tim Veerman came in, my most expensive signing ever. Spent about 9 million net, as you can see there. Signed Molo. A really good winger. I remember him being pretty good back in the day, actually, and signed him for 1.7 million, but I actually sold him in the same season for a profit. So once again, making some profit. Linganzi as well, defensive midfielder, for a bit of money, just I think a bit of backup really. And Vitali from Arsenal Kiev, another centre back. I was just trying to solidify my defence because I think that was my main problem at this point, because I was scoring goals. I signed Fofana for 5 million from Stuttgart, like I said. But I sold quite a few players as well. Fabinho, I sold him, made a hell of a lot of profit on him. £7.5 million profit, got him on a free. And J. Emmanuel Thomas I made a loss on, unfortunately. And I made a profit on Molo Henriksen. Did I make a profit on him? Yeah, I did, 1.6 million. So overall, I definitely made a profit over the years. As you can see, I know this video is pretty long, but I'm just talking about this save. It's just, I love it. I really love it. If there's anything else you want to see, then let me know. And if you do really want to see me play a season on this, even if it's just one season, hit that like button and let me know, because I'm happy to. At the same time, I don't want to ruin the memories from the past. I'm just reminiscing, looking at this. I'm itching to play, but at the same time, I don't want to ruin it, because I think I'd fail miserably with this team, if I'm honest, in the Premier League. I think back then I had this tactic, I was obviously doing the right thing, but if I go into it cold, I've literally not played this for almost 5 years. So a 5-year break, it's not going to work, is it? Surely I'm just going to flop, because I wouldn't know what to do. Don't think. These are the club finances. You can see £11.5 million in the profit, thanks to me mainly. Obviously, board confidence in me is very high. Club stature superb. I wonder what the stadium size was. I forgot what I was on. They have 15,000 seater stadium, but it's going to have an expansion of 5,000 by October. Forgot about that. This is my staff list. Danny Higginbotham as my assistant manager. Brilliant stuff. Affiliated clubs: Witham and Vorskia in Ukraine. I never had any decent players coming through the under 18s, as you can see there. I just never managed. The board would refuse to spend money on it, to be honest. You can see here my best place, Premier League 2022. Runners up in the League Cup this year as well. I won League 1, runners up in League 2, third place in the conference, got promoted. I won the Blue Square Bet South, but that's it really. These are my landmarks. Records. Top goal scorer was Pivkovsky with 27 goals in that season. It really is great looking at this. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've basically just shown you my greatest ever Football Manager save. I feel it's my greatest ever. I was so proud to get Chelmsford City promoted. Being born in Chelmsford, born and bred there, and it just felt special getting them to the Premier League for the first time. Obviously, I did it with Chelmsford Champions on FM15 as well. But this was the first time, and it just meant a lot to me at the time. And obviously, winning the World Cup with Morocco as well was just a bit random, but really enjoyed it. I think I won the Confederations Cup, and I won a few things with them. I can't really remember what, but the main thing is I won the World Cup in my last ever match on this save. But there we go. Thanks for watching this, guys. It's been a bit of a random one-off video, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And yeah, I'll see you soon. I don't know if I'll ever do a Football Manager 2011 video game, but you never know. See you soon, guys.